Hello, this is Tony Buxaviles from Staten Island Personal Training, Staten Island Boot Camp, and of course the Staten Island Slim Down. And I must say that I'm extremely excited to be able to share with you the fact that we are now at week 8. And although it's been a lot of work, definitely for me and I'm sure for you, it does feel like the time has flown by. When we started this program, I probably said to you via a live event or via online that the time is going to fly by, and to keep in mind that the time is going to go by anyway. But it would be best to utilize this moment as the opportunity to make those changes that you need to change in order to better alter your life so that it could improve for not just for yourself but also for your loved ones and all the people around you that you share your life with. Today I'm going to take on a little bit more of a sobering tone because this is something that's very close to me and personal to me, that very often we have things that challenge us in our lives and we don't face them. And I'm looking at something like that for me personally at this point in time. And I'm not looking at it with shame, but with the opportunity to really develop. And I want to share this with you only because it's possibly something that you're going through as well, especially if you're utilizing the Staten Island Slim Down as a means of improving your life physically. Certain things happen to us when we don't face them. I remember watching the Oprah Winfrey Show, which I do, love Oprah, and she talked about life lessons. And one of the things she says is that, first of all, something happens to you, a life lesson comes to you, and it's like a little whisper in your ear. And it's basically your cue to start getting the lesson. And it's easy to ignore it when it's a little whisper. But then eventually the whisper starts to get progressively louder. And we feel that lesson is poking us, that it's pushing us, and sometimes we don't face it because of fear. I mean, we are motivated by two different factors, really only two. And that's the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of fear. That's it. Everything else is based upon those two different categories. Acquiring pleasure, avoiding fear. The most powerful of those two is avoiding things that we are afraid of. So we're motivated by pleasure and fear, or fear and love, which some people may say. And so when these life lessons come to you, you can ignore them because you're afraid. But as I said, it gets progressively louder, it gets progressively more aggressive, and then eventually it gets to the place where it's something that you cannot ignore. And I'm at the juncture at this point in my life with something that's extremely challenging. And I have avoided it simply because I have been afraid. Well, the opposition of fear is courage. And what resolves fear is acting courageously. In the movie The Three Kings, starring George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, Ice Cube, there was a great line by George Clooney. And he said that one of the characters in the movie did something extremely brave. It's a war movie, and Clooney's playing the head of a battalion. So one of the characters does something exceedingly brave. One of the other soldiers goes to George Clooney's character, "I wish I had the bravery to do that." His response is, "Son, you don't get it. First you do the thing, and then the courage comes afterwards." See, the courage is really being able to face what it is that you're afraid of. There's an Indian tradition that as boys make that transition into manhood, they have to do something called facing the tiger. That they're afraid, they have these ongoing dreams about going out into the jungle and seeing these tigers, because obviously the tigers are 500 pounds and they can easily mangle you to death. And this transition is to be able to go and face the tiger. Well, I'm facing my tiger. And I'm going to ask for you to do that as well, because we don't want the Staten Island Slim Down to be something that becomes something that you do or did in the beginning of the year and after the 10 weeks is over. What's challenging you is the fear of being able to live into this new person that you're endeavoring to become. So I'm asking you to face the tiger. We talked before about having the faith in the program, yourself, your beliefs, whatever it is that affects you. Well, faith without works is dead, as the book says. And how do you manifest that faith into action? The step is having the courage to go through it, even if it's something that you are afraid of. So, with that in mind, I do have good news for you. And the good news is that last week's program is the same as this week's program. So you don't have to do anything that you haven't done before. We're going to replicate exactly what we did last week, this week. And I ask you, I implore you, I'll even beg to you to go at it with reckless abandon. Do as much as you possibly can. If there's something that's challenging you, face it. Face that tiger. And make sure you do all that you can to propel yourself towards not just the end, because the end of Staten Island Slim Down is not the end. It's simply a new beginning. So I'm going to cut it at this point in time and send you out to do all that you can do. And I'm going to end this presentation the same way I end all of them, with the statement, always remember to put your heart and soul in your goal.